So now they started playing football because they simply wanted to enjoy the day of Christmas. So for that they made some goalposts on both the sides by using their coats, by piling them one after another, and then there were only two personals. They were there. And the next thing we knew, it was Tommy against Frizz out in the middle of no man's land. Hands moved when I looked over and cheered. So they simply sat over there. They were not playing. I mean, those officers were not playing. They were simply watching their boys playing football. And they were simply cheering up. They were clapping. They were stamping their feet in order to show that yes, they are also involved in that game. And to keep out the cold, as because it was very cold and frosty. I mean, the day was very cold. It was very cold on that day, so they wanted to keep themselves warm by stamping their feet. If you keep on stamping your feet, you will feel a little bit
What is stamping?
warm. I mean, something like just producing, shaking your legs continuously. That is known as stamping. Or beating your feet onto the ground, that is known as stamping. So they just continued with that. There was a moment when I noticed our breeds mingling in the air with Binas. He saw it too and smiled in my person. He said, after a while, I think this is how we should resolve this war. A football match. No one dies in a football match. No children are orphaned. No wives become widows. This is what they are trying to get out of this particular paragraph. I mean, once they are playing football, so they are of the opinion that if we can cut it. If we can continue in resolving our problems through playing football, then there will be no loss of life. There will be no war in the world. So this was the idea that they were getting when they were having that particular match, when they were watching them playing football. And they thought that this is a wonderful idea, and by this way they can resolve any dispute. Any problem can be solved playing football or cricket or whatsoever. I mean, at least there would be no loss of life by this way. I mean, no children would become orphan, parentless, and of course, no wives will become widows. I would prefer cricket. I told him. Then we Tommys could be sure of winning. Probably we laughed at that. And together we watched the game, sad to say, County Frizz 2 goals to 1. Finally, I mean, the Germans, they won the match by 2 goals to 1. They won the match by 2-1. They made 2 goals, and the Britishers could make only 1 goal. So, though they won the match, but it was a friendly match. It was not a serious match, I mean. But as Hans Wolf generously said, our goal was wider than theirs, so it wasn't quite fair. But I mean, the writer has become a little bit, funny mood. He says that our goal post was a bit wider. That is why we got more goals, and their goal post was a bit. That was not wider. That was a bit squeezed. But our goal post was a bit wider. That is why we got 2 goals, and we could do only 1 goal. So I mean, but that was in a funny way. It's not at all serious. I mean, the writer is not at all serious. Let's wait till only 5 minutes. I think. The time came, and all too soon, when the game was finished, the snaps and the rum and the sauces had long since run out, and we knew it was over. So now the day was approaching towards an end. The day to an end was approaching towards an end, and they were also trying to finish all all the supplies like snaps and sausages and rum and all that. And finally they thought that it was all over. Tomorrow they have to fight once again. I mean at the same time they are enjoying, but at the same time they are thinking that tomorrow we'll have to fight against. We have to fight again against each other. Today we are celebrating, but tomorrow we have to fight again. So this was the feeling,
different feeling,
yeah, that they were getting at the same time. Since the day was approaching towards an end, we could all go home. I think that is what every soldier wants. On both sides, hands would say, take care. The McPherson said, never forget this moment. No, you saluted and walked away from me slowly, unwillingly. I felt it turned to wave just once, and then became one of the hundreds of grey-coated men drifting back towards their trenches. So finally, in the evening, the Germans started moving towards their trenches. They started going back to their barracks, where barrack means where the army personnel used to live. Yeah, and used to stay at night. The same way here also that night back in our dugouts, they have got trenches